the progress that we have made within our homeschool. If you hear any type of background noise or any wind, I am in my vehicle and I am driving, okay? I'm driving to work. But again, I wanted to talk to you about the progress that we've made thus far, and any changes that we're going to make, and what we're planning to do for the winter break. So we took off about 2 weeks in November for the, well, not a complete 2 weeks. I would say we took off maybe 5 to 6 days during the month of November. And we are on our winter break, or going into winter break. And that was from like December 16th through the rest of the year. We are going to pick back up with our homeschooling journey on the 3rd of January. So that's looking good for that thus far. Some changes that we are going to make within our homeschool for the new year are changes to the routine, because we have a new baby coming. The baby should be here in sometime in mid to late January of 2019. So what we're going to do is he's going to continue having his independent days, which are still Mondays, Wednesdays, his independent days are Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So we're going to continue having those. The instructional days, which are Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and sometimes after work on Fridays, we're going to change that up a bit. We're not going to have formal teaching or instruction, because I'm going to give myself at least a full month, maybe 5 weeks of a break in terms of me instructing and preparing for homeschool. So we're going to pick back up on the instruction and the teaching in March. So maybe the first week of March we'll pick back up for that. So what are we going to do during this homeschool hiatus, or this change in our homeschool flow? Well, on those instructional days, my son is going to be responsible for doing independent work. So the assignments that I would have taught during those time periods for like science and for language arts and math and electives and things of that nature, I'm still going to assign those to him, where he's going to have to independently read assignments on his own, answer the questions from the book on his own, on paper, and do the projects and things of that nature on his own without much assistance. I am still going to check his work. If he needs help with any particular problems in terms of math or any subject, I'm going to be there to be a guide. I'm going to be there to provide assistance and help. May it be me providing that assistance or help, or maybe my husband providing it, or I may refer him to a YouTube video of some sort that will help him with the concept that he may have a misunderstanding about, an effort to help him better understand whatever concept or problem he's working on. Okay, so for that time period, for those 5 weeks in which I'm taking a bit of a hiatus from instruction and teaching for a homeschool, he's basically going to be independent on his own. But he has been prepped for that. Remember, 3 days out of the week, he's independent anyway. So he should not have an issue with being fully independent or completely independent for 5 weeks straight. Okay. Also, in terms of like math and language arts, we do, and history and things of that nature, we do those subjects together. So I am literally reading the chapter. We are orally answering the questions. Sometimes we may have a mini project or something to do that I'll assign him as independent work. So how are we going to flow with those subjects? Is he ready to do that type of independent work for those main courses? Well, yes, he is, because in preparation for us having this hiatus in homeschool and him becoming completely independent for that short period of time, he has been trained already since the beginning of the school year to do his math on his own. So at the beginning of the school year, we did math together. We read the chapter together. We read the lesson together. We watched the videos, if there were any, together. He completed the assignments, and then I checked it, and then we reviewed it, and then, you know, we did it like that. However, for language arts and science, it wasn't like that since the beginning of the school year. So to prep him for this mommy hiatus, during the month of October, I did start having him read the chapter for science as an example. Read the chapter yourself, answer the questions in the back of the book on paper yourself. If you need further explanation, research a YouTube video to help you better understand the concept. Okay, 1 second. I need to change lanes here. Okay. So he has been doing that, and during that process, I have already modeled it for him. We already modeled how to do it. Now he has, you know, been independent on doing those things at least once a week on his own. So now that he's completely responsible for doing all the assigned chapters during that hiatus period of time, he should have no problem in reading a science text on his own, answering the science questions in complete sentences, complete thoughts on his own, on paper, and doing whatever projects the textbook may ask him to do. Okay, so for math, we're using Saxon Math, easy for him to do. For science, we're using Barron Builders. The chapters are not that long. They are maybe 1 to 3 pages long. They normally have questions for younger students, older students, and the oldest students. And it's normally, if you count all of those questions, it's about, you know, 4 to 5 questions. So he does all the questions. He will do the questions for the younger students, he will do the questions for the older students, and he will do the questions that are more catered to the oldest students. The questions that are catered to the oldest students require a little bit more analysis and thought, and it may require him to do a little bit of research to find additional information to help him answer those questions. But again, I have modeled it for him. He has done it independently at least once a week as of the month of October 2018. And in January 2019 through February 2019, he will be completely independent. And this is also prepping him for a little bit of independence, you know, as he jumps into middle school, as he gets into the 6th grade, as he gets into the 7th grade, he's going to have a little bit more of independence in terms of his science curriculum. He's going to have a little bit more independence in terms of his language arts curriculum. You know, he's going to have to read the text on his own without mommy, and he's going to have to do the assignments. But of course, I will be here, like I said earlier in this video, to provide whatever assistance and support that is needed. If he has questions, I will check his work. I will let him know what the corrections are. As normal, he will have a second attempt to make those corrections, and if he's just not getting it, then although I am on a homeschool hiatus, I am going to have to find the time to provide him the assistance and support that he needs so that he doesn't continue getting problems wrong. We figure out why you don't understand the concept. We work it out either together or through a video of some sort until you get an understanding of it, okay? So that's how our routine for homeschool will change beginning in January through the first week of March of 2019 in preparation for a little baby who will be arriving. Let me see what else. what else are we doing differently within our homeschool? So, oh yeah, for math, guys, for math, my son doesn't have a problem, in my opinion, in terms of math, and specifically referencing understanding the material, okay? He understands the material that is being taught in the book, okay? He watches a video on the lesson. I find YouTube videos about the lesson, or I may instruct on the lesson live, or I may record, you know, a 5-10 minute lesson for something that I think may be a little bit of difficulty for him, and I upload it to Evernote for him to watch as a reference if he ever gets stuck on anything within that chapter or for that concept, regardless of what chapter it may be on. Because with Saxon, they spiral through the program throughout the year. Okay, we are using Saxon 7.6 at the moment. Okay, so what I have found is that he is getting 13 problems wrong, 8 problems wrong, 10 problems wrong, okay? And I'm not assigning him every problem. If Saxon gives 25 problems, he may get 18. If Saxon has 30, he may get 20. I make sure he has at least 2 of each concept that well, I give him all the concepts that are new for that chapter, and at least 2 questions for each concept that has been previously done. So I'm like, dude, why are you getting so many problems wrong? Are you not understanding it? So what I'll do is what I have done is we'll do the corrections together. So I'll have him go on the board, he'll write the question down, and I'll say, work through the problem. He'll work through it, and then he'll explain it orally, and then I'm like, but why didn't you write that answer on your paper? Or you're missing the dollar sign, or you're missing your decimal point, or you're missing your metric system that's being used. That's a part of the problem, right? Or a part of the solution. So I'm like, it's not that you're not understanding it, because we just did this problem together, and well, not together, but I just had you do the problem or redo the problem on the board, and you got every single one correct. So obviously it's not a comprehension problem. So what I've realized is that it's a paying attention to detail, taking your time and slowing down and showing me your work. Because if you don't show me your work, I'm marking it wrong. If you're not using the proper metric system and you're not even labeling it, if it says kilometers, I want to see kilometers. If it says inches, it should say inches. If it's millimeters, it should say millimeters. So you don't even know what you did wrong in your problem. So when I'm asking you, why did you get this answer, but you got the answer correct on the board, you can't even explain it to me because you did not write out your thought process. So I said, okay, I'm not going to ground you or punish you like for not paying attention to detail for your work, because that's not going to solve the problem. But what I am going to do is I'm going to incorporate a double check method. So although you are required to double check your work anyway, you have proven to me through these 5 assignments, as an example, that you are not really double checking your work. And when I ask you how you double check your work, you tell me, oh, I'm double checking it in my mind. I'm double checking it in my mind. Okay, 5th graders, 10-year-olds, I guess. So I told him, what we're going to do is you're going to do your assignment, your math assignment, in your math notebook like normal. And then you're going to take a separate sheet of grid paper, and you are going to double check every single problem by redoing it again. When I tell you his face totally changed when he realized that he has to basically do every single problem twice, he was not happy. The first thing he said was, okay, I'm going to double check my work properly. Or, Mom, do you know that it's going to take me like more time to do it? It already takes me like 45 minutes to complete the assignment. Now it's going to take me like an hour and a half. And I said, well, that's just a part of learning how to double check and pay attention to details and do what's being requested of you, especially in math, because you have to lay it out somebody who may not know how to do the problem at all should be able to look at your problem, look at the steps and the thought processes that you have taken to solve the problem, and make a determination as to whether or not that problem is correct or incorrect based on their understanding of that math concept. And I'm unable to see that within your work, and it's showing in the results of your work performance. So because of that, yes, son, you're going to have to do every single problem twice. He was not happy. But we have we implemented that at the end of October of 2018, all the way through, you know, the end of the school year, and on December 16th, I think, was our last day of school for 2018. And what are the results of that? Guys, a complete 360, okay? He has even come to me and said, Mom, oh my gosh, I was getting problems wrong, but by me double checking these things, I made some mistakes that should not have occurred. Like, oh my goodness, I'm really going too fast. And I'm like, kiddo, you have to learn on your own. You have to figure out the pattern and figure out the mistake and make your own realization to things on your own in order for you to catch that light bulb, okay? So that you can physically see and visually see what mistakes or errors you're making and how to fix it. And he just was so excited at the fact that if his answers did not match the answers in his math book, notebook, and the answers on his separate grid paper, sheets of grid paper did not match, he was able to look through the examples or look through his steps that he has taken for each of those pages and quickly pinpoint where the error was and make the correction and make those 2 pages match. Because I told him if they don't match, something is wrong. So find the problem, solve it, and at the end of the day, each of those sheets should match. Your double check document and your math notebook, they should match, okay? And as a result, he's been getting 100% on his math, and the most that he has gotten wrong is like 3. And that is okay. I told him, you know, I would prefer him to get 0 to 2 wrong. The max is 2, but I'll be a little lenient on 3. However, I'm still extremely proud of him because he has gone from 8 problems wrong, 12, 13, 10 problems wrong out of like 18 to 20 total problems to 0 to 3 problems wrong out of 18 to a total of 20 problems for math. We do math every single day, guys. At least, not every single day. I would say 5 days a week we are doing Saxon, and then we do a review, which is the Saxon math test. But again, the book calls it a test. I don't call it a test because I'm not grading it for the purpose of giving him a score, number score, or a letter grade. So I look at it as a review, but you can call it a test. The test is a review, I guess, but I'm not grading the document, okay? So that's how we're doing it. And I'm super excited that he has seen the progress and double checking his work and the worth and the benefit and the value of double checking his work. So I am super excited to see that light bulb go off and to see him taking his time and putting his best foot forward and giving me quality work products. Okay. Let me see what else. So, are we going to continue that? Yes. I'm probably going to continue that for the rest of the school year, and then it will have become a habit of his. And in the 6th grade, I will stop, and we will see if he continues double checking his work properly. And if he does, it's not going to be a requirement because he should be doing it anyway for the majority of the part. But if he reverts back to getting all those problems wrong because he's not paying attention to detail, then we're going to revert right back to doing every problem twice. So that's what it is. let me see what else. So we talked about our change in routine. We talked about math. We talked about the hiatus that I'll be taking. Oh yeah, also we are transitioning. If you look at my past video, I think I uploaded it in November, about our English language arts curriculum and how we do poetry tea time normally from January through March, the winter season. The winter season this year falls within the hiatus that I'm taking from homeschool. So I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm going to do it with him, or if I'm going at least once a week, or if I'm going to just allow him to, you know, read the Michael Clay Thompson poetry and the Michael Clay Thompson grammar through literature curriculums on his own. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to, of course, let him do it on his own, but in terms of my participation in that, I think I'm more than likely, knowing me, I'm going to at least once a week, I'm going to probably do it with him. You know, I'm going to read it out loud, or have him read it out loud, and, you know, we discuss it. I'm going to still assign him the poetry assignments. I'll probably do 1 or 2 of those poetry assignments myself, because it's relaxing. Because, you know, like I said in that November video related to language arts, our language arts curriculum, I mentioned that our winter season, which is our poetry tea time season, which is a concept from the Brave Writer Julie Bogart curriculum, language arts curriculum. It's literature and grammar through rest, in my opinion. It's just sitting back, sipping on some tea, having coffee or chocolate, or a chocolate beverage of your choice, or any beverage of your choice, like cocoa or something like that. And you're just enjoying the winter season, cozying up under a fire or whatever, fireplace, whatever. And you are just reading grammar and poetry aloud, and talking about poetry and what it is and what it means to you, and writing poetry, you know, using freestyle and using some poetry elements from Michael Clay Thompson. So it's not a lot, you know. He won't have many assignments for language arts, because it's all done through reading aloud and talking it through, and maybe doing some poetry so he can understand the different poetry elements. So I probably will participate in that because it is simple and it is relaxing, but I'm not sure that we are going to continue our normal read alouds that I read aloud to him. I don't think I'm going to feel like doing that. But again, it depends. If the book is short, I may continue our read aloud time maybe once a week, twice a week, in addition to the language arts poetry time, or I may just cut out the read aloud completely, which is 1 to 2 books during that time, and just do the poetry tea time aspects of our homeschool once or twice a week. I'm not going to do both. I'll probably do that. But let me see, anything else I want to share? As you know, we do map out our math and our science curriculum for 2 years at a time. So I don't really have to work on that or do anything to that for our 6th grade year, or prepare anything for that. But during my 5-week hiatus, I'm probably going to, you know, go online and do some research in terms of what we're going to do for language arts and electives 3, which is our enrichment, for our writing, geography, history, things of that nature. Well, geography and history, I think I've mapped that out for 2 years as well. So, of course, this is the preparation time for the next school year, you know, January February, March, we are going to homeschool conventions. I am still going to the homeschool convention here in Texas in the month of March 2019. I have already registered our family. However, I don't think everyone is going to go. I think it's going to be just me and my son, and my husband will probably be with the newborn as I am attending the homeschool convention. But, you know, I will start, you know, going through my planning phase. I do have a video out there that talks about how to plan your homeschool out, and the process that, the 4-phase process that I go through in order to get that done. I'll link that video in the description box below, but I'm going to go ahead and start that process in preparation for the 6th grade. But half of it, not half, about a quarter of it is done, because math and science has been, you know, mapped out for 2 years. And I think our history and our geography, African studies, history, U.S. history, world history, geography, and good citizenship, which is a requirement in the state of Texas, which is basically the political process, government, that has been mapped out for 5th and 6th grade. So I just have to focus on, you know, 2 or 3 subjects, so I can get that done really quick. And then, you know, that's it, guys. And then, of course, I'll start looking at what our routine may look like for the 2019-2020 school year. I'm not going to map everything out or do the entire planning process for the curriculum or the lesson planning. The lesson planning during my hiatus, because that takes a lot of work. I'm probably going to do that a little later in the year, maybe May or June, early June, you know, sometime around there. Again, we're a little off this year because of baby, but that's okay. That's the beauty of homeschooling. You're not on anyone's schedule. You're not on anyone's time but your own. So, all right, guys, that's all I wanted to share. The video is almost 30 minutes long. Didn't mean for it to be that long. I'm sorry I wasn't looking at you a lot through this video. I hope you forgive me. And remember, guys, during the homeschool process, give yourself patience, give yourself grace for yourself and your kiddos. Be consistent, be supportive, be a facilitator, you know. Don't be a dictator in this whole homeschooling thing. Love on yourself, love on your children, enjoy all the moments, both good and bad. You know, look for lessons learned, jot them down, and lessons learned is nothing more than what has gone well, our successes, and what hasn't gone too well. What are our areas of improvement? And kind of ponder on those things and write those things down in order to determine if you want to use this November-December time period, which a lot of homeschools use as, you know, long winter breaks, even going into January, and decide if you need to make any changes within your style, your methods, your curriculum, your schedule, your routine, your life, whatever it is. Okay. So I wanted to mention that on his independent days, he normally spends about, I would say, 3.5 to 4 hours of time to complete his independent work, okay, on those days. He can complete it all at one time with some breaks in between. He can do a portion in the morning and another portion early afternoon if he so chooses. I just tell him all your work needs to be done on your independent days by 2 o'clock. And your independent reading needs to be done by 7 o'clock in the evening. Okay, so what he's doing after he's done his independent work is anything he wants to do, as long as it's some type of education. So may it be Minecraft, he can be on Minecraft for an hour or 2. He can utilize online resources through Beast Academy or PBS or IXL Math or Brain Pop or anything like that. We have lots of subscriptions, both free and paid, that he can utilize to take up time, not take up time, but to find something to do that's educational. We have lots of literature. We have lots of reference and resource books. He can use Netflix or YouTube to dive into something that he's interested in. He's been doing that for animals lately, like those documentaries on Netflix that talks about science in terms of, you know, other countries and what their environment looks like, and what it looks like underwater, and how animals survive in different atmospheres. So he's been really into that lately. So those are like his interest-led learning and projects that he decides to do on his own. So he has all that other time, you know, 5 to 8 hours a day to do those things, okay? On the teaching days, I normally take about 4 to 4.5 hours during our instructional days. You know, those 4.5 to 5 hours, it's closer to 4.5, maybe 5 hours, okay? But that includes an hour lunch, 45 minutes to an hour, and it normally includes a few 10-minute breaks here and there. So I'm probably really instructing for 3 hours, 3.5 hours at most. And when I say instruct, I mean I am teaching a concept. We're watching a video about a concept. We're playing a game, or doing an activity, or doing a project together on a concept, or he's doing problems that have been assigned, and we're doing those problems together, or he's going to do it and then I grade it, and then we talk about any corrections together. We discuss work that he has completed on his independent days that I have checked, and we are going through those corrections together. You know, that's what we're doing on our instructional days. If I give him any new assignments, he's not really completing those new assignments on instructional days. He holds those to complete during his independent days. Let me change lanes 1 second. During his independent days, okay? So when you hear, you know, he's going to have to do all this work on his own, on an independent day or a normal instruction day during our 5-week hiatus, I don't want you to think that my son is not spending time with me or his sister, or the new baby, you know, or he doesn't have time for himself. He has, I would say, 6 to 10 waking hours to do whatever he wants to do outside of what he has to do for homeschool. So those are normally educational type things, online, through a book, or on the television. You know, he does what he wants, and he loves that freedom, and he loves that independence. But again, I try to tell him, get your work done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, schedule it how you want to schedule it out. There have been times, guys, where, you know, he won't do it, or he'll forget to do it, or he's so involved and engaged in whatever online resource that he's doing, that when it's 7 o'clock, I'm like, where's your work? I don't see anything in the completed bin for me to check. Oh, I forgot. I'm like, well, you need to go do it right now. Yep, my son has been up at 9 o'clock at night, at 10 years old, 5th grade, doing his work, because that's just the consequence of not, you know, looking at your agenda to see what needs to be done. That's the consequence of not maintaining your workload and tracking your work, to make sure that you are doing what's required of you, you know. So that has happened. I felt bad in the beginning, but I don't feel bad. That's just the consequence. It's called life. That doesn't happen too often anymore, but it does creep back in here or there, and he will find himself doing his work at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. His bedtime is between 9 and 9:30. So yeah, I just wanted to let you know that although you hear me saying he's going to have all this independent work, all these teaching assignments that he's going to be doing on his own, I don't want you to think that he's not enjoying his childhood. He has a wonderful childhood, guys, and he's enjoying homeschool, and this is the way we do it, and it's working excellent for our family, our dynamics, and all the other stuff that we have going on outside of homeschool. So guys, I appreciate you listening to this video. I hope you found at least one thing beneficial, and at least one thing useful that you can either put in your back pocket, your homeschool toolbox, to implement now or in the future. And as always, you be blessed and make it a great day. And until we meet again in another video, see you soon. Bye.